Hi everyone, my name is Troy Simmons. I'm a public servant for the West Australian Government, and I'm also someone that is interested in nutrition and health, and so I've been very concerned with what I've been reading in regards to the official figures that we get as part of my normal work, and also from the things that I've read and listened to recently. One of those was this morning I listened to a 2-hour video from Dr. Michael Osterholm, who's an American public health scientist and biosecurity infectious diseases expert, and he's also currently the director of the Center for Infectious Disease Research and Policy at the Uni of Minnesota, otherwise known as CIDRAP, which you might have heard of. So he's a well-informed person that's been investing a lot of time into this particular the COVID coronavirus, and also previous diseases such as SARS and MERS. So he has a mad cow disease. So he has lots of experience. Now, one of the things that he said, the reason why I wanted to do this is because I know we've been inundated with stuff about the coronavirus, and it's hard to know what to believe and what not to believe. So I found what he said was really important, and I think it's important that people are informed to the facts. And like I said, I'll put a video up from Michael Osterholm so you can have a look at it yourself, and you can also compare what's available on the official government health advice as well. And just to bring you up to date, from the Australian official health website, the government one, we're currently at 200 infected in Australia and 3 dead. When you think about it, not long ago we only had 1 infected in Australia. In mainland China, as of today, 59,600 infected and 2,100 dead, and worldwide 140,500 and 3,173 have perished. So what I wanted to do was just give you some really small tidbits from what Michael said this morning. If you want to go back and watch the whole thing, that's up to you. So basically what he was saying is that we are just at the beginning stages of this disease. It's just getting going. We've seen that it took off in China, and now as a global thing, it's really just starting. So from as far as CIDRAP are concerned, we're probably looking at this for at least another 3 to 6 months. It's not just going to be a passing fade. Now, one of the main things that's happening is a lot of people think that if you touch your eye or your mouth, then that's the way you get it, or it's that close proximity contact, which certainly could be one way of getting it. But being that it is a type of influenza, that it is an airborne disease, and you will get it from breathing. So it's basically via respiratory system is how you'll get it, and also obviously mucus from the throat and so on. Now the figures that we have at the moment, so in Australia, 200 infected. If we look at the data worldwide, about every 4 days the numbers double until it hits a maximum rate. So I guess if you look at today being the 14th, if by the 18th, 19th, just 1 second folks, sorry about that. My 5-year-old's doing scootering, so he just came up. Yeah, so we're looking at the number of people infected doubling about every 4 days. So if that sum is correct, with the 200 we have in Australia, almost 200 as of today, by the 18th or 19th that should be 400. So set that in your calendar and see how that looks. Now obviously that's probably not super alarming, 6 dead, 400 people, 800 people, 8 dead. But when we get to those bigger numbers, then we're really talking about some issues there. And as we know, it has been officially listed as a worldwide pandemic. So what else? Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, look, it's just another flu. Don't be too concerned. What's everyone getting so worried about? Well, it's not just another flu. This is one that we have not been exposed to previously, and according to CIDRAP, we're looking, or according to Michael Osterholm, it's 10 to 15 times worse than a regular flu. 10 to 15 times. So if we think about it, a normal flu in a 6-month period globally kills about 500,000 people, 500,000 people. So far globally, this one in a short period of time has claimed, or is that infected? No, I'm pretty sure that's deaths. 3,173. So I might have my numbers slightly confused there, but it's much worse. So 10 to 15 times worse than the normal flu. Now, what are the factors? First, the other thing is that with the measures that are put in place, how can we protect ourselves? There are things that we can do, but basically, this is one of those diseases that we can all expect to see in our community for a while. They say it's like trying to stop the wind. So we can do the best that we can, but we can expect to see this will get through the community. There's also currently no vaccine. So whereas other flus, there's the flu shot that you can have. At this stage with this one, there is no such vaccine, and we can't expect one to be coming anytime soon. Now, if we look at the cases in Italy, we can see how the flu has gone from a very small number to, a large part of northern Italy very quickly. So that gives you an indication of to where this is probably going to go in Australia and America and other countries. So do masks help? So you see people wearing masks and they're flying off the shelves and we're not able to keep up. And it's even a difficulty being able to supply the medical fraternity who do need these. No, basically they don't. The masks have gaps on the sides, and being that it's respiratory, obviously it can quite easily get in that way. And if you were to get it and transmit it through your mouth or your eyes, then obviously it could be transmitted that way anyway. So I wouldn't worry about going out and stocking up on face masks. This is according to Michael. It appears that kids are affected, but not displaying those sick symptoms, which is interesting. But it's a danger if you're an older parent like myself, because obviously the kids can pick up an infection, and then that can pass it straight on to you. I got a tickle in my throat. One moment. Oh, that's better after a nice drink. So. This is a bit of a factor because when you look at, kids go to school, playgroup and so on, and we can see this with, I think it's Hep A, where kids can also be carriers but don't show the symptoms of the disease, but then pass it on to the adults. And this is the case with this one. Is closing the schools going to be effective? Well, what it might do is it may slow the disease down in the schools, but then you think about how that affects on the economy. Health workers, for instance, they have their kids at the schools. So if the schools are going to be closed down for a couple of months, what are the nurses and the doctors going to do as far as their children? And that's, discounting everybody else. Everybody else has jobs and lives to get on with. And if this is going to go on for a longer period of time, well, how long can we actually put that in place? So that will be an interesting development. To see what the government does. Now, who is at danger? Well, initially it was considered to be an old person's disease. So anyone over 60, 70 years old, you're the ones at risk. In actual fact, Italy has shown that anybody over the age of 40 is at risk. So other factors include, so age is obviously a factor. If you're a smoker, it's a factor, or if you have some other respiratory issue. Obesity is a massive factor, and Australia and America, our obesity rate is something like 45%. So if you look at someone like myself, I am actually overweight and considered, according to scales, slightly obese, and yet obviously I'm not a huge person at all. But I am 52, so at 52, I'm in that danger bracket. So what are some other factors? So high blood pressure would be a factor. Also, basically any underlying health issue, really. Anything that brings down your immune system. And later on, I'll talk about those things. So there's a lot of things that can make you more or less susceptible to the coronavirus, and one of the main things is the overlapping issues. So let's say you're an older person, you're 55, you're an overweight person, and you're a smoker. Then you've got a few things, unfortunately, that are going against you. So that would be important to build up your immunity as much as possible. One of the other factors is that, as I said, there's no vaccine, but there are drugs that people require. In the United States, there's almost 200 drugs that are listed as being life-determining. In other words, people rely on them. My son's just gone down on his skateboard. And he is A-okay. Okay, so let's continue after my son's done a wipeout on his scooter. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, that's right, with drugs that people rely on to continue to survive. Well, the thing is that one of the issues that we have is there's not massive stores of these drugs, and most of them come from China and India. And as we know, China's in lockdown, and India, I would suspect, would be at fairly high risk because of the population over there. So because we rely on drugs mostly from offshore, you consider that could become an issue. So that's just something to keep in mind. This is how these things could impact on us. Economically, we've already seen it, and we're going to see it more. The other thing is so it's not just about whether you're going to get sick, it's about the ongoing impacts on us. Hello, Zahara. Oops. So what else is there? So now some people feel that this is just something that will, America's just coming out of the flu season, so that's it. But as has been shown with MERS, which is prevalent in the Arabian Desert, just because it's nice and warm and not wet and cold doesn't mean that you can't pick up something of a coronavirus style disease. Now in Australia, we are just coming into our flu season, and people are already feeling the effects of just a regular cold. So once again, slightly compromised immune system. This is something that could piggyback onto that, so it's definitely worth being aware of. So we've talked about a lot of negative things there. Something else that is interesting to note is a lot of people say, this is just another flu. So what? Well, if we look at the normal flu, the fatality rate of a normal flu is 1 in 1,000. 1 in 1,000. So that's 0.1% of the people have a fatal reaction to the normal flu. That's globally. Now the coronavirus, it's 2 to 3%. Up to 4 was the early ones, but it's been brought back down to 2 to 3%. So that's in every 1,000 people, 20 or 30 people find this fatal. Now, if we compare that to the Spanish flu of 1918, sorry, I'm not used to this public speaking.
Oh, excuse you.
Yeah, thank you. It was between 3 and 3.2%. So about in every 1,000, about 32 people. So it's not far from that where it sits at the moment. Now, if we look at that, if you really want to be one way or the other, somewhere between a regular flu, 1 in 1,000, up to the Spanish flu, 32 in 1,000. So this one sits somewhere in between there. At the moment, as I said, between 2 and 3%. What can we do to help us out? The best thing you can do is to improve your health. And that means staying above the wellness line. That means reducing the risk that you might have, getting good sleep, a healthy diet, lower stress. Stress is a massive impactor on our health. keeping up with vitamins and supplements, having a good health. Now, there is some, Dr. Michael is not someone that is big on the probiotics, but I've just returned from a nutrition, gut health, and gut health and hormones wellness talk not long ago. I can't get the right words out, I'm sorry. Like a symposium, recently a symposium, and it was a lot of that was about having good gut health and how that's really the beginnings of health through the whole body. So I would suggest that's still important to have, and that kind of links in with a good diet anyway. And obviously just reducing things that might compromise your health. So like I said, if you're overweight, smoker, those sorts of things, try and reduce those. Reduce the toxic load on your body. Massive thing. So I'm talking about things like toxic cleaners, things that you put on your body like underarm deodorants and those sorts of things that could compromise your system even to a small bit. Might be a good time to think about making the change. So that's basically it. That's what I've got to say. I'm going to also post Dr. Michael Osterholm's video so that those that want to have a look can check that out. If you really do not want to get any more after watching this, then please let me know. I am going to post another video on some things around the home that dramatically increase the toxic load on our bodies, and how you can replace those. And that's just about staying above the wellness line. It's not about getting immunity. I'm not going to tell you anything that's going to prevent you from picking up the COVID, but it is something where you can definitely improve your health and improve your build your immunity up, thereby reducing the risk just generally of becoming unwell. So I hope this was informative. I'm sorry about the interruptions and also about that tickle in my throat. That seems to have gone now. So anyway, I look forward to everyone's comments. Thank you.